the United States. We're in conversation with James Henry, Global Justice Fellow at Yale University, about what has been seen as a major shift in U.S. refugee policy. President Donald Trump setting the refugee admissions, calling for fiscal year 2026 at just 7,500 people. And a very good evening to you, James, and thank you so much for speaking to us. What is your interpretation of this new shift in policy, refugee policy, and what exactly is it articulating? How do you understand it?
Well, ever since February, just shortly after Trump took office, he was talking about issuing privileged access to the U.S. for white Afrikaners who he claimed were victims of genocide in South Africa. And he issued an executive order back then. This is kind of a continuation of that. Just early September, he designated a group called the Amerikaners, uh, headed by someone called Samantha Busa, who appears on her LinkedIn. She was from Durban. I guess it's not really clear what she was doing in Durban, but she's an English-speaking South African who's been charged by the State Department with managing referrals for white Afrikaners and other white people from South Africa. This latest policy with respect to visas, the United States has always been a refuge for people seeking asylum. We had a quota of about 125,000 per year for that, and he's just cut that to 7,500. But within that, he's giving privileges to English speakers and also to white Afrikaners, who he claims are victims of this supposed genocide. The idea that this is actually going to help white farmers or South Africa achieve any kind of constitutional democracy, sort of is just ridiculous. But Trump is basically at heart has always been not even a closet racist. And this makes it pretty clear. I don't think this will survive even this Supreme Court to have explicit
That's what I wanted to ask,
discrimination.
because a lot of his executive orders, if my figures are correct, I think you have around 70% of them that have been subjected to a Supreme Court scrutiny. Is it likely to survive even with his motivation of, humanitarian discrimination against white Afrikaners, but it's being labeled as selective humanitarianism?
Well, I think it's highly selective. It puts a very clear legal challenge to the Trump Supreme Court. This is one of the most blatant acts of discrimination you could imagine, to build this actually into the law. The evidence for genocide against whites in South Africa is very limited. They're doing pretty well. They own about 75% of arable land, and there has been 50 to 75 murders per year of white farmers, but that is considerably down from the rate in the 90s. When I visited Orange Free State back in 2016, I think the figure was running in the 90s. It's any amount of it is, of course, despicable, but most of it's due to robberies. It doesn't seem to have much to do with targeting, and there are a lot of colored and black victims as well of these attacks. So the case for there being a genocide, there's genocide in Gaza. I think we can point that out. There's genocide, that we've seen historically in South Africa itself. But this will not withstand even this Supreme Court scrutiny.
But it just also, finally, as a question, just trying to be prescient about what's likely to happen within the Trump presidency in terms of his own understanding of international humanitarian law, particularly with regards to refugee status. Will it hold up master, though?
I think it will slow things down, but I don't think it will withstand legal scrutiny. And I think most white South Africans who've looked at this have agreed. They've only had about 100 who have responded out of the 4.3 million whites in South Africa, roughly as of last year, who have responded as of August of this year to this solicitation. So, the U.S. economy is not a great place to to come right now. Growth is slowed. The tariff policy is not really working. And I think if Trump really wanted to do something to help whites in South Africa or any population in South Africa, he would actually
Mm.
take off the tariffs that he imposed on
Oh, no.
South Africa. The agriculture sector accounts for about 10% of GDP. South Africa's exports are about 1% of GDP, 1.5% of GDP, and 10% of your exports. So,
James, I
uh,
want
that,
I,
yeah,
I want to end it there, but I think it's something we definitely have to lock in on, just in terms of AGOA and this humanitarian,
yeah.
refugee status that Donald Trump is giving Afrikaners. That could he help them rather from back here at home if he wants to be selective? But I really do appreciate your taking the time, albeit it's short today. But thank you very much, James Henry, Global Justice Fellow from Yale University.